And the next hour, we will begin from the front pages of the papers. We're starting off, as usual, taking a look at the Nigerian papers. And our very first stop will be the Punch newspaper. That's what we're going to. We'll take a look at the front page of the Punch. It's got that header there. It says, Federal Government NLC meeting deadlocked. Workers insist on demands. Page 2 has all the stories. Government workers must agree on concrete resolutions within the remaining days of ultimatum. NLC says Minister appeals to labor unions to embrace dialogue. Shun strike. His deadline ends on Friday. Well, I think I was indeed calculating ahead, looking at October. But of course, they say deadline ends this Friday. There's a lot. All of it means we need to buckle up. Check your accounts quickly to see what you have left.
The account is not looking good.
Okay, on the front page there as well, drama as Obaseki locks out embattled deputy from government house. We talked about that. You can find more details, incisive, page 18, I believe. Yes, indeed. Tension as 8 killed in Ogun community cold clashes. We also brought to you this story yesterday, especially in our subsequent news bulletins, talking about the clashes between the cold groups. We do hear that some persons have been arrested, while some were found dead in the room, especially with some of the suspects. Quite sad. Obasanjo insists on stand-up order to monarchs. Page 7 has that story. All of you saw that video, right?
Yes, I did.
And did they?
Joko. And then they sat down. We talked about it yesterday. Our guest yesterday believed that it was an insult to Yoruba monarchs, as it is, they are held sacred. In terms of Yoruba tradition, they are next to God. After God is the kings, because it's God that sort of appoints these kings. I mean, the people appoint the kings, yes, but in terms of authority, after Olodumare, it's the kings. Of course, they've issued an ultimatum to him to apologize.
They said his wife has come out to
Now,
apologize.
he has also dissociated himself from the apology of his said wife. His aide had come out to talk about, I mean, according to reports we saw online, had said that they shouldn't take the report seriously, as she's not speaking for the president. In fact, she's not the president's wife. She's the mother of the president's children, the ex-president's children. So it's just a lot of drama. You know, Baba is stubborn. I did not expect him to apologize. I asked the guest we had yesterday that what if Baba doesn't apologize? What will happen? He said, first of all, we already stripped him of every title we have, every chieftaincy title he's been given. We've stripped him of it, this and that. I said, okay.
Anyway, the story continues. You can read more inside of the Punch, page 7. The front page there, you can see the pictures. You know what's going on there? Demolition, yes, of illegal structures at Area 1 shopping complex in Abuja. And who's doing this?
Wike, he won them.
He won them. He told you, I'm not going to take any problem. If you don't build, we will destroy. Never. All right? Never.
You should have started in making as a second career option. I think you do it.
Anyway, let's take a look at more stories at the top there. Nigeria servicing 108 World Bank loans worth $14 billion. No easy solution to Nigeria's economic problems, says U.S. and oil companies, agencies, all federal government. Listen to this. Oil companies and then agencies, all federal government, $9.85 billion revenue, according to NETI. Page 19 has that story. Quite sad. I mean, the Punch is loaded. Go check it out. I mean, we feel sad for those who had their structures destroyed. Don't get us wrong. It's a sad one, and we do know that our correspondent and, of course, our Abuja chief, Ramadan Uyi, has been following up on this story on the destruction carried out by the former governor, Nyesom Wike, who is now the FCT minister. Of course, warnings were given, clear warnings, but I think anybody who knows the former governor and the FCT minister, he walks the talk. And that's exactly what he's doing. And that's all on the Punch.
All right, let's move away from the Punch to the Daily Independent newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Independent, CBN default on FX backlog undermines investor confidence. We also see here Tinubu appoints 18 aides to serve in VP Shetima's office. I like the way they're appointing aides and they're just appointing. This administration is the administration of Iyeneba, according to Wike, because truly, it's just as if they are sharing this is the definition of sharing the national cake. one day I might come to work and Osalgi and Joe have already gotten appointments by the president to go and serve as special advisor to the special advisor of the special
Apparently,
advisor.
the 18 special advisors are for the vice president.
Yes. It's okay.
And the president
A
has already
very
appointed.
bogus and robust budget is what we're running. But then again, let's move on. I stand by my position on Oyo. Monarch says Obasanjo disowns purported wife who begged for forgiveness on page 29. Federal government must refrain from harassing, detaining opposition, Article warns on page 29. Edo deputy governor was not locked out of office according to the governor's aide. So what is the true position? I'm sure that there's an update. Like we said, it's a developing story. I'm sure that we'll get a bigger picture by the end of today and as the days go by. But if you want further details, page 7 of the Daily Independent. On page 6, Tribunal dismisses APC petition against Governor Lawal of Zamfara. Federal government deploys policy on patient safety care quality on page 6. UNGA, Tinubu engages South African president in economic bilateral talks. When I hear stories like this, with President Tinubu engaging South Africa in bilateral economic talks, I'm not very excited because in the most recent times, we've seen how these talks have come out, especially with Dubai and India, Dubai in particular, with the whole conversations. They're coming to tell us about how they've had talks, they're doing this, and then they come and give us a fake impression. The special advisor to the media misrepresents exactly what the agreements were. So I don't know if it's something that Nigerians will be very excited about.
I think if I'm to speak on that, Olive, I would say going forward, maybe the special advisor media, like many would say, usually you could call a conference and speak clearly, or better still, let's stick to our press releases. Aside from the interviews are very good. Don't get me wrong. For journalists, I mean, we do know that Ajuri is also a journalist.
It's why I had higher expectations.
Yeah,
because he's a journalist.
Yeah. So I mean, he knows. We all know this. So we're expecting that going forward. Why don't you take your time? There's no need to rush. Let's be honest. We do know that there's pressure in the land, just as you've seen the NLC is pressuring the federal government. Aside that, we've also seen cases where there's pressure on, we need results and answers of what you've done. Take, for instance, when the G20 summit was being held in India, apparently the narrative that was being pushed was that the president and, of course, the entourage have met with members of the G20. They're looking at being part of the G20, of course, which we've seen come to light, and then their conversation. So it kept looking like the juicy part of the story was pointing towards, all these excerpts, all these benefits, all these beautiful things are coming from the G20, whereas it wasn't. It was actually the president and the team meeting with a certain, investors, including the Indian prime minister and so on, and they looked at possibilities. So why don't you just keep the G20 first? Yes, they're going to go to the G20, but focus on, we've met this certain person. So I think it's in the narrative and how the stories are being.
Exactly.
Don't sugarcoat. Just tell us, listen, this is how it is. This is what we're doing. And like I would say, do not rush. Take your time.
They're desperate to give us some good news.
Do a press release. If possible, let it go through 2 or 3. I mean, we trust your professionalism. I mean, we're not going to be here and say, we don't trust you can't do the job. You can do the job, but take your time so that people don't start. Do you know how many people actually sent emails to me that day? That fly to Dubai. I'm like, now, and then all of a sudden, let's fly.
What I ordered versus what I got. Still on the front page of the Daily Independent, 20 dead as rival cult groups clash in Ogun. NNPC orders didn't remit 8.265 billion naira to Federation account in 2021, according to NETI. At the bottom of the paper, we have federal government brings labor leaders back to negotiation table. I don't even know what this means at this point. Stakeholders yet to agree to avert planned indefinite strike. Federal government considers cancelling multiple designations for foreign airlines. I'd like us to quickly talk in a few seconds about that story. 20 dead as rival cult groups clash in Ogun State. We have a cult problem that we're not addressing. The unfortunate demise of the singer Mohbad has brought that to light. It's a conversation a number of people are now, Nigerians are now talking about. It's not like we've not been aware. Cult groups spread across universities, secondary schools, and now even on social media, you see them they are bantering in their social media lingua, right? And it's a crisis. It's an issue we're having on our hands that if we're not careful, in the nearest future might do us more harm than good. If young people have decided to take up arms and go into fights with rivals just because, oh, you are not in my court, you're in another court, then it's a problem that we have on our hands. We're having gang battles and gang wars. It's just very sad.
It's very sad indeed. I agree with you that the recent death of the artist has actually brought this to light. People are starting to see what his death has done is people are now seeing the risk involved in it. And just yesterday, the court clash has also brought to the fore what these states in the southwest are indeed facing. And it's obvious that there needs to be a clear statement, a focus channeled towards ensuring that, okay, now remember that there's a law in Lagos State as well that says if you are caught, you spend XYZ amount of years in prison once you are caught engaging in these acts. Let me ask this question.
How many people have listened to
How
this?
many people have been pronounced caught? You know, there's something I want to say here on this program very quickly. We must indeed give kudos to the NDLEA, Olive, regardless of whatever anyone would say, because every Sunday you hear, I call it the Sunday tonic. I mean, this is from what we used to do before, during the broadcast days. Every Sunday tonic, you see the NDLEA giving you reports of those who have been caught, clear indications, statements, pictures, interviews, videos, and the likes. This is the way forward. If you need to clamp down on certain things or aspects like what we've talked about here, then make it clear to the public. There was a video that was circulating online about somebody who showed you what the Nigerian prison system looks like. I mean, I'm not trying to say, oh, thank you for showing that. Maybe that would further help others who engage in crime to stop what they're doing. But we know that that one is a discussion for a different day, because the prison system truly needs a complete overhaul. You don't need that much people in a cell because it's not even helpful. You're supposed to, it's called a correctional service.
No, our correctional service is not really correct.
But now coming down to what you said, until people start seeing that, listen, these things are dangerous, this is what you get, this is the repercussion you get for engaging in it. Mohbad's situation just brought it to light. And now that he's dead, people have seen that, oh, this can really kill even an innocent person or someone who just wanted to be part of something but found himself in that tycoon and wanted out. But he was told you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have the full details of that, but from
Absolutely.
what all the bits and pieces we're seeing, there might be some level of gang fights and gang clashes that have happened there, especially with the way he was being harassed whilst alive. Speaking of NDLEA, just to quickly mention that NDLEA has opened shop in Lekki Phase 1. Yes, if you are driving in the night, you see the way that police will stop you to ask you, where are you going?
Oh, yeah, I saw them too in Naija.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I was surprised.
They said park your car, and they were checking people's cars.
Yes.
I think we have a drug-related problem.
Oh, yes, we do.
And
Especially
anyway,
on this island.
different conversations, different times, and trust me, if we start that conversation here this morning, we would not leave this set. I'm sure the news would possibly fail.